In case I have not met you personally, and most of us just know each other on digital format with Facebook, my name's Noreen Savage, and I am not anybody official with Bright Line Eating. I started my journey with Bright Line Eating last year. It was May when a friend of mine posted on her personal Facebook, and she said that she lost 57 pounds. Her name's Lori Ayers, and she's tonight here. A big thank you to Lori. But she posted on Facebook that she had lost 57 pounds. And she said no flour, no sugar, 3 meals a day, and no snacking or, weighed and measured portions. But if you needed more information, to get a hold of her by private message and find out more. So I immediately got a hold of her. And I wanted to know, you mean like no sugar? Like no flour? And when I got the answer of yes, I thought, no way. There is no way that I can do this. But I really like Lori, and we got together for lunch shortly after that. And again, I still was not convinced. She was really happy with the program, but I was just not convinced. But a thing was going on in my life where my feet had been swollen on and off for about a year. My knee was in excruciating pain, and this pain was getting my attention. I work on a university campus, and I couldn't even walk across campus. I had to get a ride to go to a class, and I thought, this is just crazy. So pain got my attention, and now I'm actually grateful for that pain, because it gave me a willingness to do something that many people might think is extreme, but once you're in it, it's really not extreme. So anyway, I got started. I officially began July 22nd. I practiced for 3 weeks and then was all in on July 22nd. And I promised myself that if I made it through 1 year, I would post on my personal Facebook page, and I would help anybody I could. Well, just before that year was up, I got a feeling in my spirit that I could do more, that maybe if people could get together and really see some of these wonderful people who had lost weight, if they could just hear their stories, that would be even more powerful to you. And so that's where this came from, the starting out bright. And this is, Lois and I did not really know each other up until September, and it was through the starting out bright, I think. And you posted it on the newbies, right, Lois?
Yes.
And I'm sure that you might have been surprised when I turned around in a couple of weeks and asked if you'd be on this program,
Yes.
because we didn't really know each other. But I will say that, and you know, it, I'm talking to the choir here because I'm sure you know this who are here, many of you. Lois is phenomenal in this Bright Line newbies group, just helping people so much, posting, posting resources, a lot of resources, but motivational quotes, things to get people going, thinking about when they're ready to do this and to not give up. And I was just so impressed by the care that she showed that I just had to invite her to this. So without further ado, I want to welcome to this Zoom chat Lois Weinstein. And thank you, Lois, for being here.
Thank you.
And you and I chatted the other day just to get to know each other a little bit more, and to also make sure that the Zoom worked, to
Yes.
make sure we're on the same page, that
Yes.
we knew how to, get together on this. And we had a really great conversation. Um, but I can't speak for you. I would really love it if you could bring people back before before you even started Brightline, how you got in, what has been your journey up till now? I mean, you don't have to say all of it because we'll be chatting along the way, but just to get us started, who are you with Brightline Eating, and, how have you gotten to be the administrator of this Brightline newbies group? Okay, so
Yes.
thank
Sounds
you.
good. Thank you. First, I want to thank you for inviting me, and I want to thank the newbies that are here and anyone else, other guests, and my family and friends. It's wonderful to see everybody here. And let's see, like many people, maybe my weight was always like on a roller coaster ride. And my highest weight, I was looking it up, was at one time 192 pounds. And then it dropped at one point in about 2012 to about 123 pounds. But as I said, it goes up and down and up and down and up and down. And then after I was at my lightest weight of 123 pounds, I started gaining weight. And up until 2019, I put on about 50 pounds. So I was in the 170s. So when I started, I just didn't feel comfortable anymore. Along the way, I tried Weight Watchers. It didn't work for me. I worked with 3 different nutritionists. That wasn't helping me either. Well, the one helped me when I was very light, but he was helping with something else, and that just happened along the way. But his program was too strict for me, and then I became very sensitive to the foods because I was very limited in my food categories. So that wasn't helping me at all, and so I had to do an elimination diet and so forth. So, and I've been searching. I wanted maybe try to become more of a vegetarian, vegan. And so I started searching those things out as well. And then in 2018, I hit upon the Food Revolution Summit
Yes.
that's hosted by the Robbins, Ocean and his father John. Yes, Ocean and John Robbins. And when I signed up for that, I bought the package so I could review the videos if I didn't have a chance to watch them. And one of the bonuses was the 14-day challenge, and I
Oh,
could do it for free. And Susan Pierce Thompson, who is the founder of Brightline Eating, she gave a speech, a presentation, and
right.
I was listening to it, and I tucked it away in the back of my head, and I knew I had this 14-day challenge in my back pocket. In the meantime, I continued my search and I was looking at another program and I decided that wasn't right for me either. And I said, let me look again at the 14-day challenge and Brian Light eating and what's required and can I really do it? And, so all those feelings inside of me were, can I really give up? Like you said, can I really give up sugar? Can I really
Yeah.
give up flour? And it was so September of 2019 into October. I started eliminating certain foods or cutting back on them. By then, like white sugar, I wasn't really using like in my tea or anything like that, but I was using stevia. And, so that was kind of hard for me to break at one point, but I'm not using it anymore. And and my friend Sharon Kaladny, her son was getting married in October, and I said, this is a good reason also to maybe shed a few
Hmm.
pounds. So, which was nice. And then what happened? So then I decided along the way, that I would do the 14-day challenge, and that I started that on November 9th. So
Okay.
November 9th, I started the 14-day challenge, and of course, it's a 2-week program.
And
And
what
then
is
from
involved with the 14-day? I have not actually done that. What is involved with the 14-day? Are you in like, do you begin like everything on one day, day one? Like,
what happens is, especially which I want to bring up for those of you who have not done the 14-day challenge, Bright Line Eating has just come out with the 14-day challenge for $14.
uh,
Normally it's $29. So now they have a brand new pricing. So if you're interested and you need a good foundation, a good beginning, I would suggest doing that. So the first week, if I remember right, is they give you like the preparation, like what do you have to do? What do you do to get yourself ready? And then on day 8, they start with the videos, and every day you'll receive a video from Susan Pierce Thompson to help guide you through the process. And at the end of the 14 days, they gave me, and I'm sure they give everyone else also the opportunity to join boot camp.
okay.
So you can do that. And I just want to put out there also about don't let the money throw you, because if you feel it's too expensive, they do have scholarships where no question is asked. And go to support at brightlineeating.com, or Brightline Eating, rather, support at Brightline Eating, and ask them that you're interested in joining boot camp, but you're in need of a scholarship, and then go from there. So it's all on an honor system, and so if you want to do that, that's fine.
And I
Um,
have heard Susan mention that in some of her FaceTime
oh,
lives.
good.
They do say that. They're like, do not let money get in the way of
Right,
you experiencing the full boot camp.
right, exactly. And then from boot camp, which is a series of videos, you get modules. So it's an 8-week program, but they give you an extra 2 weeks, so it's really 10 weeks unless they've changed it now. I don't know, but so you get modules, and then you're expected to watch these modules, and they can take anywhere from 90 minutes to 2 hours to watch. And you start and stop, and each one's maybe 10 or 15 minutes long. It's not long at all, but you get even more solid foundation about bright line eating, where you're at, and in your involvement. Also, as part of boot camp, you're placed into a house with other people starting boot camp at the same time, and there are house leaders. So if you have questions, you can go to them, and you post on Facebook, and you can ask them and get the information that you're seeking, which is really nice. My boot camp house is Exquisite House. It's still in existence, and their people are still there, very active, and they're still posting. The leaders leave the house because they're off to a new house to monitor, and they check in every so often. And then after boot camp was over, certain members of the group decided they wanted to do a boot camp too. So they went through the videos again, and to help support each other, which was really nice. And then after I finished boot camp, I decided I wanted to stay close to the mothership, as Susan Pierce Thompson calls it. And I decided to to be a Bright Lifer. So as a Bright Lifer, there are many, many benefits. Again, there is a scholarship if you need one. I just want to put that out there. And there's just so many pieces to it. I mean, I could be spending 24/7 just being
Well,
involved, with Bright Lifers, because there's all kinds of coaching calls. There's every morning there's an accountability call at 8:30 in the morning for a half hour. Sometimes Susan is on those calls like twice a week. So if you want to participate, you can. Also in boot camp, you have coaching calls also. They're more sporadic, but they do exist. I forgot to say that. But as a Bright Lifer, there's calls from Joy, Dr. Joy, and also when you reach maintenance, there's a whole maintenance aspect to it.
mhm.
There's it's just a wealth of material, and then there's tons of resources to look at, and other facets, um,
Well,
like
this is
Ari.
really interesting. And Sharon asked a question, and I would encourage anybody who has a question for Lois or for me that if you look at the bottom of your screen, there should be a chat button, and
Okay,
you can ask a question there to everyone or even privately. But Sharon asked, what is the cost? And I know that it can be pricey as far as like, I think, is it like $500 or something for if you pay full price?
if you pay full price, it's a little bit under $500. However, as I said, if you contact support at Brightline Eating, they have what do you call it? A sliding scale.
Mm-hmm.
You determine how much you can afford to pay. So it's not a matter of, I didn't know about that. So I paid full price for both Bright Lifers and Boot Camp. But anyway, I like sharing that with people. I also, because I'm a Bright Lifer, there is refer a friend. So if people are interested in that, I do get some discounts, and I can discuss that privately with people.
I do have a
Um,
question too about the leadership for the houses because I've not talked with anybody about this. You're the first person
oh,
that really talked in depth about it. So
okay.
are these in the boot camp for the leaders? Are these leaders of each houses? Are they more like a bright line eating official? Like
Yeah,
from, okay, so
yeah. They,
they're well thought of, anything that you could ask them, right?
right.
Just,
They're appointed by whoever they design it. However Brightline Eating designs things, they are appointed leaders. Yes, they work for Brightline Eating. I don't work for Brightline Eating. I'm just
I don't either.
one of you.
We're
Right.
just
So
talking. We're
yeah,
just talking. So I'm wondering, so you had come from, um, I almost want to say yo-yo dieting, but really you're up and down with your weight. And
yes,
you got into this, even though you had been in other programs that had, process of elimination. Okay. That
yes,
was probably to find if your body was actually not feeling well with something, if you're
yes.
almost having an allergic reaction. So, what was either easiest or hardest for you going into bright line eating? Was there anything that was easy about it or really hard about it? I know for me,
Yeah.
I had to go through kind of a sadness thing about it. Was almost like a sad feeling that I'm saying goodbye to food, which
Yes.
sounds like craziness because it's food. It's not a person. But for me, there really was a grief process. And I still even experience it now sometimes, especially on times that I'm not prepared and something comes up and I have to react and I have to have a heart to heart with myself. And so, what was it for you? I don't know what you went through specifically.
Well, I'm trying to think. I want to start by saying what attracted me to the program. What attracted me to the program was what I was searching and I wasn't getting from the nutritionists that I was working with. Didn't have a plan the way it's laid out in Bright Line Eating. So for breakfast, you have the protein and the grain and the fruit and how much of it. I wasn't getting that because I thought I was eating healthy. But then I found out once I started weighing and measuring, um,
Hmm.
I was having too much fat. I was having too much fruit. I was having, and I wasn't having enough vegetables. So that really helped me a lot. So as soon as I saw that, that was like, yes, I've been searching for this and this is what I need to try.
Mhm.
I also, I still go through a kind of grieving process with certain
Yeah.
things. I'm famous at resuming. If my buddy is along here somewhere, I don't know if she's joined us yet. But anyway, yeah, I'm very good at
And
resuming.
for the newbies, can you
Yeah,
just say what
what's a
resuming is?
resume? Yeah, resuming just means like you might get off track for a day or so, and then at the very next meal, you get right back on. So for me, snacking at night is something that, I enjoy doing. Or if I get emotionally upset, I reach for NMF, which is not my food.
Hmm.
And so, but that's something, again, you have to talk to yourself about, journal about, and try to reach that part within you and
Hmm.
soul it and so forth. So yeah, so that's tricky for me. But if I do that at night, I come to breakfast. I love breakfast because it just sets me right back on track again. And sometimes my hours are not conducive to the 3 meals, and it might be off. So it might be 2 bright line meals a day. It depends. I try to juggle it.
Yeah.
But really, I have to, for myself, I'm still working on, even though it's so many months down the road, I'm still working on really getting myself set. And I just want to say, like, I went to the doctor yesterday for my annual, and I was so pleased. I posted it on the Brightline newbie page that I had lost 36 pounds.
That's great.
And thank you. And the doctor looked at me and he says, "That's 3 bowling balls. How did you do it?" And what did I say? Bright line
Right.
eating.
Good eating.
So, and
Yes,
of course,
well, I
and
kind of had a similar situation, not necessarily the doctor, but the
yeah,
dentist I had today, and I've had to have a procedure. And the question, they took my blood pressure. They says, "Has your health changed?" And I'm like, "Well, when was I here last?" And it was actually last September. And I'm like, "Well, actually, I've lost quite a bit of weight since then. Probably almost another 50 pounds since I saw you." And they're like, "What?" Like, you know, so you bring up the point resuming too. When I told you my friend Lori, one thing she said, because I ended up having another lunch with her and got on board and she helped me along, even though Lori never read the book. So we are
mhm,
all on our own journeys. She gave
yes,
me good advice to get online and get support. At that time, it was We Eat Right with Lines, and that Facebook group is still there, very well going. But I think Bright Line Newbies, it would be a perfect place to start. But one thing Lori told me that stuck with me, it sticks with me to this day. She's like, "Noreen, if you ever get off track, remember two things. Don't beat yourself up
right,
and don't look back. You're not going that way."
right,
And I would add one more thing: stop, drop, and do the next right thing. You don't even have to wait till tomorrow. Just do the next right thing. Like, okay, I'm in this mess here. I've gotten something out of the cupboard that I shouldn't have. Okay, the next right thing is to shut the cupboard door. Okay.
right,
Get involved with something else. Start my crochet project, whatever it is. Get my
right.
mind off of it. So that's just something that kind of tied in with what you're saying with the resuming. You know.
Absolutely. It's important to have some sort of emergency action, whether you reach out to your boot camp house or your buddy or call
Mhm.
someone or just distract yourself. It's a good idea to have it written down and post it somewhere so you have it right in front of you,
Right.
possibly 5 action steps or just the one. Yeah, definitely. Because, and I know that. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. So, like, but now I feel like my birthday's coming up, and my sister offered to get me. We're going to have my friend Terry offered to have a virtual birthday party for me, which is really exciting. And my
Mhm.
sister offered to get me a birthday cake, and I'm like, no, no, thank you. No, I don't want the birthday cake. So I do have an idea of what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to bake one of Natalie All's cakes so that she would make a breakfast cake and I'll use that to blow up my candle with, and then I'll have it for breakfast the next day, and I'll make one the day before. So I'll make two. So I'll have two. So I can have one for my morning breakfast at my day of my birthday, and then the next day,
It
I'll
kind of,
have that
yeah,
one.
it kind of reminds me of last Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving is coming up in the United States. Uh, and I was having a moment like I'm going to miss out on pumpkin, fill in the blank. And all of a sudden, I go to the group and I'm seeing all these recipes for pumpkin, and pumpkin is considered a vegetable.
Hmm.
So I made a pumpkin with, I think it was chickpeas,
Hmm.
and I had that as part of my lunch. And I had my little pumpkin NMF, not my food, but it wasn't a not my food. It was the real deal, and it was
Right.
really pleasant. I felt like I'm normal, whatever. I don't know how I'll be this Thanksgiving. I'll probably expand on that. But I think the whole thing is preparing. Yesterday, I was meeting a friend for dinner, which, oh boy, here we go. I don't want to mess up.
Hmm.
And on the way, you might be familiar with Dave Ramsey. He is, Dave Ramsey has helped millions and millions of people out of debt. He has a lot of personal finance integrity, and just he himself had gone bankrupt and then got himself out of debt, but he has a financial plan. Well, he has a radio show like every day all over the country. And he said, just as I was driving, I had turned on the radio and here he was, and he said something that I thought, wow, this applies to food. He said, you don't just get into debt, you wander into debt. And I thought, yeah, like, it's the trip you didn't pay for, or the Christmas presents that you put on the card, or some stuff from Amazon, whatever. All of a sudden, you have this pile of debt that you didn't take care of.
Hmm.
But he said, to get out of debt, you don't wander out of debt. You have to get gazelle intense to focus on it. And I am doing this thing. And I thought that is so true for food and our weight a lot of times. We don't like focus on gaining weight. We wander into it, and all of a sudden we find after a few birthday parties and after the vacation and after this and after that, next thing I have another 10 pounds, 15, 20. I've wandered into to where I was 270 pounds, and I wake up and I'm like, oh my goodness, how did that happen? But I'm not going to lose that weight by every time that I fall off and have a crack or go into the ditch with my food plan if I stay there or and say, maybe next Monday. I have to get right back in
Hmm.
where I left off and, get right on it. And I think that has been one of the biggest things is, as you said, you're the queen of resume. I don't think it can be emphasized enough to just, don't look back, just
Right.
keep
Just keep going, and it's available to us. I
going.
talk a lot about putting bunny slippers on, which is Susan's term, and it's true. You have to be kind and gentle to yourself. I mean, in the beginning I was like, oh no, I did this wrong, oh no, it's not just right, and oh no, it's not about perfection, it's making progress. It's all about making progress, and that's the message. Not to be harsh on ourselves, to be kind to ourselves, gentle, and really be our best friend when it
Right,
comes to this. And I think that's the key to doing well, and just surrendering to the program. If you surrender and you become a crystal vaser, which means you follow the program to the T, your lines are shiny bright, you will succeed much better than someone like me that is wishy-washy at times. So,
mhm,
but that's for me, that's my journey, it's my own personal journey, and there are things that I need to learn along the way and figure out for myself. So, and again, we only do it for one day at a time. It's not a matter of looking to the future. It's just one day. It's interesting. I went to the post office today to mail some letters, and I saw an old friend of mine that we taught together years ago, and I said, and here I'm in a rush because I had a few more errands to do before I come home for dinner and blah 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 and get here. So so I explained to her that, well, I can talk for a few minutes, but why don't you call me and we'll talk some more. And then we got into talking about bright line eating and what it's about. And so I felt like she was giving me like a warm up for tonight,
Yeah.
and but the thing of it is that I explained to her, it's like, for today, I'm saying to myself, I'm not having sugar, I'm not having flour. Tomorrow, maybe I'll have that piece of cake, but that's for tomorrow to decide. It's just you take it day by day, and I think that's the beauty of it. Just keep going and take it day by day, and I think that's the best attitude. And if you need to, if you get off your quantities or whatever, it's not a big deal because look how much progress you've made. And like I'm
Right.
saying goodbye to 36 pounds, I don't want to see them again,
Right.
you know? So,
So,
and if you lost 2 pounds so far or 4 pounds, I applaud you. That's wonderful. Just keep going. Just keep going with it. And one lady today on the newbie group had posted, about her what was going on with her. And but actually what we're told in boot camp is if you lose between 1 and 2 pounds a week, that's
mhm,
normal. I'll call it normal. That's the usual amount of weight to lose. So you just have to be aware of what's out there and what it's about.
mhm,
And the other thing I want to say is that I do have Susan's book. I don't know if it's backwards, I guess, Bright Line Eating, her first book, which was a New York Times bestseller, which is, it outlines a lot about what happened. But I absolutely adore, and this is the first book I bought actually, was the cookbook.
okay.
So I I mean, both books are good to have, but if you're starting out, this is the book to have, as far as I'm concerned, because it's like, I'll call it my resource Bible for bright line eating, because it gives you the science, it gives you recipes, it gives you the map to follow, so to speak. It gives you everything inside that you need, and I'm constantly referring to.
Hmm.
And there's vignettes about people who have been through the journey, and they have befores and afters if you're interested in that. So I highly, highly recommend this book. And if you'd like, get this one too, so you have the two of
Yeah,
them. Um,
definitely. One of the people who is highlighted in the first book, I can't remember his name, but I was listening online to it today, just on the CD or whatever. And it just reminded me, he said something about you are not just going to be losing the weight. This is way more than just losing the weight. And for me, that is so true because when something comes up where, you know, why am I getting very hypersensitive about somebody else eating, an NMF? What is that really about? What
mhm.
am I having to uncover that I think I need that, more than just like chatting with someone? What is it? And at least for me, the journey has been not just about losing the weight. Have you found that to be true?
Yes.
No.
It, I mean, there's many branches to it. It's not just losing the weight. If we focus, like I can't remember the exact saying, but when you focus on your weight, you lose sight of the bright lines. And when you focus on the bright lines, you don't need to worry about your weight because it's just going to come off naturally. There's so many other pluses that come with this. And what I'm finding is that there are other bright lines I'm forming in my life, with regard to spending money, for example. I mean, other non-scale victories, what we call NSVs. I mean, right away, I saw my clothes were getting bigger on me. You're losing inches.
Mhm.
And you don't need to go on the scale. You can do that periodically if you feel the need to do that. But you're just building up this whole new lifestyle. You're developing a new identity. And it was
Right.
interesting when I was down to 123 pounds and I could look in the mirror and I could see, and I'm buying smaller clothes. So I'm like a size 6 or 4 at that time. And I'm like, but it didn't register in my brain. And by listening to Susan, she tells us that it could take 2 to 3 years for that to all come together. Having gone through that process, I'm ready. I feel like I'm ready for the new identity and very much accepting of it. So there's a lot, as I said, it depends on a person's experience,
Right.
where they started and where they've come from. So, and each individual is different. What's good
Exactly.
for one may not be good for another. And that's why if you need to modify the plan in some way, there, as they say, there are no BLE, bright line eating police, no BLE police. And so it is up to us as the individual to make those determinations as to
Mm-hmm.
what is best for us and what will work for us. And I know there's another newbie when we first started out together as founding members who comes back periodically to check in with us. And she's finally working with her doctor and she's losing weight as a result. One of the lines, I don't recall what line it is, but one of the 4 lines she was having trouble with. And she was struggling and working with her doctor. They have a plan. So
Mm-hmm.
reach out, definitely. And always, before you start a new health plan, a new kind of way of eating, you may want to check with you. I mean, they suggest highly to check with your doctor,
Yeah.
especially if you have underlying health conditions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm waiting for my blood work to come back because another reason I wanted to lose the weight is because my cholesterol was very high and my
Okay.
triglycerides were very high. So I had that done yesterday. So it'll take a few days for me to get the results. So I'm hoping that, as in the past when I lost weight, that they will come down again because I do not want to go on medication. So that's something I
Well, I
did.
find like the NSV, the non-scale victory too,
Yes.
and you talk about it, but for me at least,
Mm-hmm.
and I have not identified myself as a food addict. I just have not said those words about myself. However, I had all of the symptoms. I had all of the habits of it. If I was at work, for example, and something was in the lunchroom, like, help yourself, it would like call me all day.
Mm-hmm.
I'd find ways to get over there. And it
Mm-hmm.
would be, just kind of just going back and forth, and it would just call me all day. I would just have that. It was just this food chatter that something was in the house or something was around, whatever. And the other chatter that was always going on was because I was always dieting for 25 years. I was always running numbers in my head, carbs or calories or how many minutes did I exercise or all that kind of stuff. And I don't even think about any of that. So that to me, even though doesn't have anything to do with clothes or anything like that, it has freed up my mind to
Yes.
just think about other things and
Yeah.
just, do different things. So let's get to the Bright Line Newbies, the Facebook group.
Okay, can I
Uh,
just list one more
sure.
thing? Is that I
Mhm.
feel light, not only do I feel lighter in weight, I feel lighter in spirit.
Yes.
So it gives you more energy and freedom to do other things. So I just wanted to throw that in. Okay, Bright Line newbies, ready?
Yes. Well, and as we're saying that, I did have a non-scale victory because I've gone from a size 26 to a 16. And today after the dentist, I went to Kohl's store here because I ran out of pants that are the next size down. I always had like 4 or 5 sizes in my closet. Well, this was the lowest, and I'm going to be going to work, not just remote work. And I'm like, I'm going to have to get some more pants. Like, this is crazy. And I found as I was going to the plus size department, the 2X and 3X, I'm just looking at these pants and I'm like, this is not me. Like, my identity did change.
Mm-hmm.
Not like, oh, I hope I never get there. My identity changed. Like, I'm not going to ever wear that size. I need to find the other part of the store that I can find clothes that fit. But that was really startling to me because it's always been like, oh, do I want to spend the money on this size because whatever? No, I don't identify that anymore. I'm going to the next size, to the next size, to the next size. And it was just a really great feeling for me today. So woohoo!
I know. I congratulate you. It's so wonderful because it
Thanks.
just make such a change, and it's like, what size am I now?
Exactly.
I kind of guess, as we go. I order
Yeah.
things from QVC. If I fits, if not, I send it back and we try
Yeah.
again. So
Yeah.
that's what I do.
Yeah.
But
So
I
anyway,
think it's wonderful.
so getting back to the Bright Line newbies, what are
Yeah.
your goals for that Facebook group? I mean, besides, you probably need some help by now because it's grown to like 400 people.
Yeah, we're on our way to 500 actually. Dinner
And are
time
you
is
doing
at
that all by yourself? Like are you doing all
4:65.
are
I'm
you doing
sorry.
all the administrating part yourself?
Pretty much. Well, how it began was I belonged to Brightline Eating Official Facebook group, and there was another woman who belonged also, Amanda Blaney Steen, and she decided that she asked if anybody would be interested in starting a newbie group, and I was one, and there were a few other
Hmm.
people. Just for us, because this other woman wanted to start out a group, and she didn't want newbies; she wanted people with experience. So okay, so Amanda started the group on October 30th of 2019. And then by November 13th, because of personal reasons, she was seeking help. So she private messaged me and another woman. So as of November 13th, I've pretty much run the ship with Amanda from time to time. But then again, because of personal reasons, she's had to drop out. The other woman that was involved, she went off to be a bright lifer. She did boot camp, went off to be a bright lifer, and then she
Okay.
found out that she's moved on. And
Okay.
so at the end of November, that was it. I did put out an all call at one point. I do have one person that helps me from time to time,
Okay.
accepting people, but she didn't feel that she was really ready to do more than if she does that. I do the bulk. I'm doing the bulk of the work. I mean, that's the bottom.
Okay. So if
Um,
somebody were to want to help you, they can private message you, right?
Absolutely. I mean, if
Okay.
somebody's interested who has some experience, I mean, I didn't have any, I mean, it's like, you know what I'm saying? I just started, and within maybe 2 weeks time, I'm already administrating a group. And I'm like, and that's why I was telling some of the newbies that showed interest. I said, but I started in the same place you are, and
Yeah.
look how much I'm learning. And when people post questions, I mean, I research to find out, how to help them. If I have the answer, where to look for the answer. And some great places to look for answers would be on the Bright Line Eating support page, support at Bright Line Eating, because they do have facts and questions section, and you can type it in, what you're looking for, and then something will pop up. So usually I will look there. If I don't know, I check my resource books that we talked about,
Hmm.
and then I come back and I report back, because I do have access to, as a Bright Lifer, I will pose a question if I'm not sure to a Bright Lifer, and then they come back and I post it.
Hmm.
So I try to use all the resources that I have available to me to help the newbies get off on a strong footing. And I like to check back with them too. Like one member is on shaky ground maybe, and she was reaching out, and so I wrote to her, let a few days go by, and how are you doing now? And so she
Hmm.
thanked me and she filled me in on what's going on. I do get private messages from time to time. Like I got one this morning about a breakfast post and what did I think, and so I did some research with that because I didn't know where pesto belonged, but pesto is actually considered a fat in our program. So
Right.
I
Right.
so
Oh,
I'm
you're doing
learning,
a
as I'm
lot.
saying, I'm learning as
Hmm.
I go and as the newbies ask questions, as I do my research, and it solidifies in me what I need to be doing for myself. And it's wonderful that more and more people are joining us, and it just shows that people are so much interested in improving their health and wellness.
Right.
And we're doing no sugar, no flour, no processed foods. It's whole foods. It's what my cousin in California would call clean eating,
Yeah.
and I have to give him credit because he was after me, Lois, look into like Overeaters Anonymous or one of the food addict groups, and I don't consider myself that either. And I'm not a binger, but I do like my sweets,
Right.
So,
One
and I would
thing,
indulge at times.
one thing that I would say too is even in the book,
Mm-hmm.
Susan talks about, I'm trying to think, it's towards it's in the food part, but she talks about that the program itself, as far as the food outline,
Yes.
that is not enough to just lose weight. You
Right.
need to incorporate the resources. You need to really have a system
Yes.
going. And that is what, you can probably speak to that better than I can, but I know committing food either on paper or to someone, or at least having a thought before you go somewhere, what you're going to do about food. And she's has said this in the book earlier. All of these other diets programs, they may say, okay, have 1,200 calories or have, 30 carbs a day or whatever, but they're not saying how exactly are you supposed to do that.
Exactly.
I think for me, the structure, what seems so like, oh my goodness, I have to follow this structure, limiting, has actually made it almost unlimited of what you can do. As long as you follow the structure and you have, you know, there are charts as far as what kind of fruit you can have, just about anything. I mean, I
Yes.
can't, except maybe not dried, vegetables, and, there's just almost unlimited, but you can make the program as healthy or maybe not as healthy as you want. It all
Yes.
depends on what you want to eat all day.
Right.
If
And
I want to just choose 2 ounces of nuts for every protein serving I have,
mm-hmm.
that might catch up with me after a while, but to have nuts once in a while, or I actually have them just about every day, but I have them in a small quantity, you know, that to me is just like, wow, I get to have them. It's a plus, but I'd probably lose weight faster if I didn't. But it's all a choice.
Yes, definitely, because that was a question that came up also recently from a newbie, and it has to do with we don't count calories. We look at the groupings, the food groups, as you say, and it's choosing what it is you want to have. What else I liked about the program is that if you want to be plant-based, you can, and if you want to be, if you want to be an herbivore or an omnivore, you can be that. So it's a mix, and the idea that, you have a plan for women and you have a plan for men.
Mm-hmm.
So there are husbands and wives that are doing this together, couples that are doing this together, which is really nice, I think, when they get
Yeah.
on board and then they can be together. And so going back to the other question is, yes, the idea of having a buddy, some sort of support system, some sort of community is vital. Susan's always pointing out being part of a community is extremely helpful, to reach out, just to say, listen, I'm having a problem. I think I'm going to, start eating. I know I've addressed in the official group or my boot camp, somebody was driving somewhere and they were about to go to a McDonald's or somewhere. And it's like, oh, they wanted to help right then and there. And I happened to catch it when it was happening. And I wrote to her, I said, distract yourself, turn on the radio, listen to music. I gave her a whole bunch of ideas, which helped her. So that was good. So, we're here to help one another on this journey. And other resources that I'd like to share, that I've posted before, you'd have to scroll back through a lot of them. But like if you're interested in recipes, there's Forkish Habits. You could look
Mm-hmm.
up the Weight Loss Recipes Cookbook, and you had Natalie all on last week, and she had a wonderful program on today. If you didn't get to see it on the newbie site, I did post it, and you can watch the replay, as well as she has it on her own page, and she has past shows that you can go back and watch. There's also Life Unbinged, and she's also, these are all BLE people. There's another one called Losing Half. She's a blogger, but she also does recipes. There's also Living a Simple, Bright Life. And as we all know, Bright Line Eating Official. And there is also just Bright Line Eating. So you can go to that one also. So you have the official page where a lot of people post. The Bright Line Eating is more like an administrative kind of thing, which I'm not, but everyone's entitled to go there, because what I'm finding lately is if I do have a question, like the question came up about the 14-day challenge. It was either yesterday or today that I went to find out more information, and you're able to message them right away, and you wait
So
a few
that
hours.
is the
They
official?
come
I
back
mean,
to you.
you get somebody from the official?
Yes, yes. If you
Really?
go
Oh, I
to,
didn't know
yes,
that.
if you go to Bright Line Eating Facebook
Mm-hmm.
page, they'll have the message button, and
Yeah.
their little symbol will come up, and you can write to them if you have a specific question, and they will come back to you. Writing to them through email does not work. Those get kicked back to you, and they'll tell you, go to support at Bright Lane Eating, and then at the bottom you scroll down, which is, I usually post that for people if they don't know, and that's where you can get the answers to questions when you type
Mhm.
something in. And then at the very bottom, it'll say, if your question hasn't been answered, you can contact us here. So that's another route to reach them. And because they were so busy getting people to sign up for boot camp
Yeah.
recently, so they were a bit overwhelmed. But I understand, maybe things are slowing down and they can get back to you within, a day or two. But
Hmm.
this is another avenue that I have found by going to Brightline Eating and messaging them, and they've been very nice about answering my questions.
Well, I
So
will remember that one. That's
yeah,
great.
and then we have your group naturally, BLE Family and Friends, right?
Friends and family.
Friends and Family.
BLE,
Sorry.
friends and family. Yep.
Yes. And
That is,
there are many others. I mean, that's how I started out. Also, I started Googling in I guess that's the right word. In Facebook, I would type in Bright Line Eating, and then I would see what groups came up, and then I started joining them, and I get
yes.
posts, and it's really nice to see what's happening with recipes. And sometimes if it really strikes me, then I'll post it on the newbie page, to help people out. Maybe they're interested in that as well. So,
I
what else?
have,
Hmm.
just in case anybody has a question for you, if
Yes.
they want to put it in the chat, or even if, just let me know and I can even unmute you or whatever here. So,
And,
um,
and then I just wanted to show, I started out with this meal planner that someone
mhm.
else had recommended. It's set up for bright lines for 180 days from Amazon, and there's all different covers to it, and they also have there's different formats. And I did have on the newbie page if people wanted to post the kind of journal that they're using. I mean, I started out with where's my notebook? I started out with my plain notebook, the
Yes.
dollar notebook, and that's where I started. I said, let me invest, because what happens is that it outlines for you, so you don't have to keep writing over and over again, one protein, one grain, one fruit, da 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 for each meal. So I thought this is good for me, and I used that all up. And then my last birthday, a friend had given me a daily planner. So I've been charting that out because I have these big
Okay.
blocks for each day of the week, and I'm putting beef for breakfast because now I know what I have to be doing. And so I'm sort of weaning myself away from this kind of template, but you have that as well. And then I just
I'll
wanted
show
to
you,
point,
I'll show
I'm
you
sorry,
this one too while we're talking.
sure.
This one is from Life Unbinged.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
I really like this because you can see breakfast, lunch, dinner, but you also can see below thoughts and feelings, and I am thankful for. And I
Yes.
have just found it really simple. I haven't been great about journaling, but I have been writing a few thoughts down each day when I'm
Hmm.
using this format. So this has
Yeah,
been helpful to me.
that's wonderful. And actually, Bright Line Eating has come out with their own merchandise now, and they have journals and things like that. And again, I would say I received an email, but I don't know how to take from the email to bring it over to the newbie site. So that might be something you want to investigate if you're interested in looking at what they have available, and if it resonates with you, if it's something that you'd like to follow. The other thing is it's important to have a gratitude journal, and it could be a plain notebook or it could be just something in there. When I joined boot camp, another item that Susan said, recommended that we have is a 5-year journal.
Oh, I
So
wish I would have done that so bad. Where did you
what
get that? I wish I would have gotten that. I have not done that.
the 5-year
I wish
journal is interesting because it goes by the day, like for example, like this. Can you see all right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just little blocks. And so you only have like a few lines to write in, what happened during the day, for example, highlights of your day. And what I've been doing is I've been using this as my gratitude journal and going back, and then I can go back eventually and look it over. It's pricey. The one that she recommended was even more pricey than this one, but I got this one on Amazon, and you can look if that's something you're interested in doing. And then, like, so a year from now, as long as I keep it up, and then I can go back and say, oh, let me read back what happened on this day, the same day. What happened today on October 15th, and of course, I'm going to write about what happened here tonight. So that would be
Yeah.
cool. And then some.
There's, go ahead. I do have a question from
Oh,
somebody.
okay. I just wanted to be quick. For resources, if you saw Natalie last week, she has a slew of cookbooks. She has another one coming out. This is just volume one of her cookbooks. I have all 8 individual cookbooks. She gets high ratings for her recipes, and I've tried many of them, and they're very, very good. And so I just wanted to mention that. And
Mm-hmm.
then another cookbook that I have is from Katie's Bright Kitchen, but she had to change that, so now it's called Katie's Conscious Kitchen, and she's also on Facebook. And she's also from Brightline Eating World at one time, and now she's branched off into her own way of doing things. But her background is in Brightline Eating, and this book is set up that way. So, and she does have some other books like that too. And I just wanted to bring that up. And then there's also Candace Nelson's book, which I don't have, which I've heard very good things about, is the Brilliant Brain Cookbook. So you may want to look that one up on Amazon. So, okay, I'm ready for the question when you are.
Sharon is asking, what is the difference between the program and its boot camp?
Okay, so
And Sharon, if you want to unmute yourself, you can ask a follow-up question in case we're not getting it right.
Okay.
Sharon.
Susan, hi Susan. Okay, so the difference between the program and boot camp. So boot camp is where you decide that you want more assistance, where you want more understanding of the program. So someone is leading you through the program. There are people that just get the books, find out about it, and they go it alone, or they hook into a community like Brightline Newbies or the official group. But the program is within boot camp. It's all one and the same. Did I answer you, Sharon?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Love you.
Love you too. Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Susan Tripp is saying there's a lot of info on the books. Could you, Lois, put a list on the page?
So
Lois?
So Susan is, she would like me to list the cookbooks that are
Do you mean like all
available. Susan, is that what you want? Or all books, like all resources that I know about? Is Susan going to type back, or she's
Susan,
going to
if
talk
you
to
want
me?
to unmute yourself? I think that she means to put a list of maybe the cookbooks and other books. For example, the 5-year journal.
Okay, I can do that.
There may be a way like on the file tab
I'm having a problem with
to
that.
do
I'm
that.
going to try. I tried setting up a file through my phone, through my smartphone, and for some reason, whatever I wanted to put on, it kept circling and circling. And I said, okay, and I couldn't get rid of the circling. And then the next day I went back, and guess what? It's still circling. So I will try via my computer, because I would like to figure out another way to do the posts, to have files. Oh, and that's the other thing. Brightline Eating Official has, if you go across the tab, they do have files, and that's where you can pull off resources also. Other people have posted many ideas about that. And then, oh, I don't know if I mentioned, no, I can't. Crystal Billings, and I can't remember which one she's from, but I think it's Living a Simple, Bright Life. She also has wonderful templates of, she was preparing for a while, like for a whole week. So some people like to know, what am I going to have? So I go shopping, I do all my preparation in one day, I sort it all out, prepare it, stick it in containers, and then just pull it out from the freezer or your fridge. So she's a wonderful resource, Crystal Billings, if you haven't. And she's actually going to be starting up her own kitchen,
Right.
selling, did you see that? Setting up her own commercial kitchen, where she's going to offer people Brightline eating meals. So
That's
I
so great.
yeah,
It's
so
great.
there's a lot going on. Different people are getting very creative in how things are happening.
There's
So,
going to be more and more and more because this message is getting out. There are just so many people being able to not only lose weight, but even like, not everybody who's on this is that has a lot to lose. They could be having health problems. They could be having all kinds of things that they want to have a simpler, like you said, a cleaner diet
yes.
that they consume. So, well, we are getting close to the 8:30 time, and Lois, you've just have your wealth of information.
Thank you.
I really appreciate everything that you do for everyone, not just in the newbies, but I know that you're in the other groups too. And you're just a great, caring person. I just appreciate that you even took the time to come on this Zoom chat and tell your story. I do want to say one thing. I've been posting mostly before and after pictures, and I
Yes.
asked Lois, and I'm saying this to you, Lois, too, but I asked Lois, do you want to do a before and after poster for this promo card? And she's like, not really. I just have you can say it better, but I just have it's a today. Like I'm living today.
Yeah. It's
Like,
like I'm sorry.
go ahead.
I just want to say it's like the post I found and I put on Brightline Newbies today. You learn from yesterday, you live for today, and you hope for tomorrow. And I think that's what it's all about, living for today. And my mindset, when you talk about NSVs, that's where this program, Brightline Eating, has brought me, living for today. So, I do reflect on the past, but it's in the moment, it's here and now, and you just go with it and wherever it takes you, and just reach out for support, get a buddy. On Brightline Newbies, I posted somebody was looking for a buddy, and then I just put a post, anyone else interested in a buddy, and that's how I found my buddies, and they've been wonderful. And Susan even recommended if you want be one of 6 buddies, if you want to build like a little constellation around you. And then if you want to get into something called mastermind groups, which you learn about in boot camp, where you work together as a team and you meet once a week and you have conversation. And something that I'm thinking about with Brightline Newbies is maybe having some live chats like
Hmm.
we're doing here. I just have to figure out a time and what would be good, and if people are interested in doing something like that. So maybe we'll do that and be able to answer some questions that way too. So we'll see how it goes. And
Okay.
but I would just want to say thank you for having me on tonight and being able to share my story as well as about Brightline Newbies. And I want to thank everybody who came, all the guests and the newbies and my family and friends. It's great to have you all with me tonight, and I love all of you. So
Oh,
thank
thank you, Lois. Thank you so
you.
much. And I'm going to, a lot of people are saying thank you for sharing your story. And I'm going to close by saying, as I have in the past, good night, stay bright, don't
Mhm.
let the bed bugs bite, but stay connected, everyone. Bright Line Newbies is the Facebook group for anybody starting out. And I say anybody resuming. And you heard from Lois all these resources. She's just keeping that site really well stocked with information. So thank you very much for coming. Next week, there is going to be Tony Visconti. She's very well known in the We Eat Right with Lines group, I think, mostly. So if you have a chance, that meeting's going to be at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. So if you get a chance, tell your friends. This is just a resource because I think that, I know that I'm inspired. I hope you are too. So thank you again, Lois. I so appreciate you. And until we see each other again, stay bright, everybody.
Bye.
Okay, bye
Bye. Thank
now.
you.
Good
Thank you.
night. Good night.